So this Wānanga was about connecting whānau to our paharakeke that was gifted to Aunty Shirley Macdonald. She was a kairaranga. We took whānau over to the paharakeke to learn about the different cultivars, the different varieties of harakeke and what they're used for, and some of the ones that we might use for tukutuku. There's about 20 different varieties in here, and they're used for muka or piu-piu or kete. For example, for what we're doing today with tukutuku, there's a couple of varieties that are really good for tukutuku because we're looking for harakeke that doesn't fray and has a lot of length.
Hinepoupou, wa hinerirerire, I kaurea te moana, o rau kawa kawa. I ngā ngaru tuatea, I ngā wai kare kare. Kai kai awaro, hei kai tiaki.
Harakeke takes, when we dye, it takes it really well, as opposed to keke, which is not a little bit more subtle when you dye it and it doesn't sort of retain it as well as harakeke. Some harakeke will have really good, like the gum. Would use it to for burns, so it's good for burns. And we would also use it to bind the feathers when making kākahu. So nowadays we use soap.
Hauti pua o Ngāti Kuia e.
You know, they reckon you're not tangata whenua if you don't know the story of your whenua. Hey, so that's what these stories are. That's our whakapapa, and it's our connection to the whenua. But from here you've got Cable Bay, then Whakapuaka, Pori Bay, and then Whangamoa. But that kiriopa, when he got to Nelson and took off down south, he ended up marrying into the Maruiwi, and that's a lot of the Waiata, or those peoples. So the boulder bank is called Te Tairo a Kiriopa, which is the barrier of Kiriopa, which, you know, his karakes are trying to keep Kupe from catching up to him. I mean, our people were sort of nomadic, hey? They moved with the kai during the seasons, but this was an area they could always come to where there would just always be kai.
I've never met half these cousins, so to come onto a wānanga where you're meeting family and doing something new with them was awesome for me. It was really cool. You know, that's what I'm taking from this.
My role here as project manager for the whare tipuna build for Ngāti Kuia at Te Hora is to be a kanoikita, a face that can represent the kaupapa, which sort of is what brings me here. To this Tukutuku Wānanga. It's a blessing to see our whānau growing in these spaces, these taonga tuku iho, and for me personally, this is a huge part of the mātauranga that's going to be stored in our whare. I don't see tukutuku whānau kaupapa going down many places at all. Often we see these things happening in institutions, mahi toi courses, and it's beautiful. But this provides an opportunity for our whānau to connect with the kaupapa, understand, ask questions, and that'll enable us to be a much smoother process when it comes time to designing these tukutuku panels and all of our mātauranga that's going to sit within inside the whare.
Yeah, all right, the dye. when some of the whānau were making up their screens, me and Jodie and a couple of the other whānau got to sort through the kēke and, you know, separate it into ones for dyeing and ones for leaving aside. He taonga tuku iho. I want to be able to, I want to be like the aunties and be able to share those sorts of traditions as well. You know, rongoa Māori is really my thing, and I enjoy sharing that. But this is something new where I'm the one learning rather than doing sharing. And
now grab your drill and then do exactly the small bursts. Like, yeah, right. Grab your other one, grab your other one.
So the pangao, this one here, this softens it up. This is really brittle, it's really hard to work with. Actually a lot of people don't particularly like it because it's like cutty grass and it cuts your fingers, but I actually like it because you don't have to dye it. And it's actually, that's a natural colour, which is quite beautiful. So that's supposed to go into boiling water, and this is supposed to go into cold water, but that's what happens if you put it into hot water. So I probably actually wouldn't use them, they're so fat. Look how fat they are. So I just cut them off there and then use that piece. So it's not the end of the world. Yeah, that's the stems, you know, that's like right in deep in the plant, so they're softer.
Oh, did you learn this technique on Facebook?
Yeah. I just wondered whether it was going to work, that was all. And I said to Chanel I'd stay back and practice and see if it works. So I'm just trying to work out what to do with it.
Yep. So this is my framing, and the pieces down the side just kind of hold it all together, otherwise this would all just fall out. And what I'm doing now is kind of binding that to the back pieces, and so now I'm going to start on my design.
I love that Ngāti Kuia allowed the tamariki to come, because she's what keeps me moving and she loves learning all of this. I'd love to make big pieces of kākahu for my whānau to wear one day. That's what I'd love to do. I want to share it with all my tamariki and my whānau. I'd love to take it up to Te Pā, to do it with those kids. If I was to be able to create a tukutuku panel for the whare, it would tell a story of being able to be part of this, really, part of the revitalisation.
I lined it all up and nailed them all in, but there wasn't enough room for when I actually was going to thread the material through, so then I took it apart again to line it back up, but then it was too far apart, so they weren't going to stay in.
I mean, it's awesome to see whānau struggling actually and working through and getting the result at the end. You know, it's something to be proud of. One of the tukutuku in the whare talks about, it's actually te aumiti, and it's a piece that people often mistake as being incomplete because it talks about the swirls within that area at the French Pass and the currents. And the currents are all different shapes and sizes. And essentially it talks about how we will go through all sorts of things, but it will come out of it at the end. So it's not incomplete, it's just that our story it's ongoing.